Build your way out of recession is the headline in the Telegraph this morning. That's how they sum up the Prime Minister's new plan to fix the economy by relaxing the rules on home improvements.
Well, joining us now in his first interview since the reshuffle, the Prime Minister David Cameron. Good to see you.
Good morning.
To see you. Never easy to sack anybody. Never easy to sack anyone. I understand there were tears.
No, that's not true, actually. No. I never believe everything you read in the newspapers. But it obviously is difficult because there are ministers who'd worked incredibly hard, who'd done absolutely nothing wrong in their jobs, who were very dedicated. But when you've got a big team of 300 MPs and huge challenges, it's important to bring new people on and bring new people in. So you have to let some people go. But I think it demonstrates it's a government that absolutely means business. I've told all of them the economy is the priority. Whatever your job, whether you're in health or education or the Foreign Office, there's something you can do to help to grow and boost our economy, linking up to the fastest growing parts of the world, turning out graduates that will make great employees. We're all part of one vital mission, which is get the debt down and get the economy moving.
Well, let's talk about the Cabinet, though. There aren't many women in it.
Well, there are as many today as there were before the reshuffle. Two very talented women left the Cabinet and two very talented women joined the Cabinet. But what you see, obviously, I inherited a party with only 19 women MPs. There are now around 50, so big change has taken place. Some very talented women in the junior ministerial ranks. I hope you'll have some of them on the sofa, people like Helen Grant and Anna Soubry, stars of the future. They're joining the government, and I hope they'll be working their way up and through it, and you'll see many more women at the top of Conservative politics in the future. We
asked your party chairman yesterday, you know, are the Tory women really not up to it? And he said that's a no story. What do you think?
I think they are up to it. They're, you know, as I say, a lot of the people I've appointed into the Whip's office, into new ministerial posts, are very talented women, some of whom were only elected 2 years ago. And as I say, I think get them on the sofa here, test them out, see what you think. But I think they are really, really strong.
We've talked about the economy, and obviously that's what everybody wants to get sorted out. Of course they do. You're going to make it easier for people to buy their houses, and relaxed planning regulation as well. You're saying it's a brilliant idea. If it's such a great idea, why were we not doing this months ago?
Well, we've been trying to get the housing market moving, and I think one of the casualties of the recession and the banking collapse under the last government is, frankly, we had a situation where the lenders didn't want to lend, so the builders couldn't build and the buyers couldn't buy. And there are people watching this programme in their 30s, living at home with mum and dad, desperate for that starter flat or house.
But surely it's about confidence, though.
Well, it is about confidence.
You know,
so
if
that's
people
why,
aren't confident, but builders aren't confident enough to build or to invest.
Right. So there are a couple of, we're talking today about 140,000 jobs provided by building an extra 70,000 houses. There are a couple of things we're doing which I think will really boost confidence. One is, look, the government doesn't have huge amounts of money. We know that. We've got a deficit. But we've got huge amounts of credibility in financial markets. So we're using that credibility to guarantee, oh yes, we're borrowing money at 2%. Spain's borrowing it at 6%. We're using that credibility to guarantee £50 billion of investment, 40 billion into infrastructure, 10 billion into housing. The other step, which we've just announced this morning, which is, I think, hugely important, is saying to property developers who are sitting on sites that have got planning permission, that aren't going ahead because there are too many obligations on them to build a new council homes, effectively, go ahead and build, and if you get on and build quickly, you don't have to build those new effectively council homes, you can build the starter homes for the people I was just talking about. So those things, the developers, I think, will tell you, the property developers, the house building industry will say to you, that's really going to help us to get moving. But it's a tough economic environment.
No, absolutely.
If there was a button you could push in Whitehall that just said, right, growth comes, I would have pushed it long ago. There isn't. What the government can do is set the conditions for growth, provide that background of low interest rates, of low taxation, which we've done with companies, of a steady and sensible government doing its bit. Then you'll find that households will want to come forward and invest, and businesses want to come forward and invest. That's how it has to work.
We've had so many questions from our viewers this morning to put to you. You've heard about the judge, obviously, this morning.
Yes.
Anne-Marie Finnerty wants to know what you think about the judge allowing a serial offender to walk free and stating it takes courage to burgle somebody's house.
Well, I hadn't seen those remarks before, literally walking in here this morning, but I have a very clear view about this, which is burglary is a despicable and hateful crime. I've been burgled twice, you feel completely violated when someone has smashed their way into your house and stolen your possessions. And you know, I'm very clear that people who repeatedly burgle should be sent to prison. That is,
so
that is actually what the guidance
said.
I haven't seen the specific case. Judges sometimes say things that you have to read the full context and the rest of it. But I'm very clear, burglary is not bravery, burglary is cowardice, burglary is a hateful crime. People sometimes say it's not a violent crime, but actually if you've been burgled, you do feel it was violent. Someone breaking into your home. That's why this government is actually changing the law to toughen the rules on self-defence against burglars, saying that householders do have the right to defend themselves.
Of course, we had that case the other day, didn't we?
Exactly,
yes.
exactly. So I mean, I don't.
No
Look, I'll have to go and have a look at what the
Right.
judge said, but I'm very clear. It is a despicable crime, and people should be quite clear. If they get caught burgling someone's house, then the courts can send them to prison.
Now, we've seen this week Michelle Obama behaving like a superstar
Oh,
and
yeah.
actually, you know, going on stage and telling everybody, very emotional, telling everybody to vote for her husband.
How wonderful he is.
And how wonderful is how much she loves him.
I can
and all
see
of
where
that.
this is going.
Yes, I know. and people, you know, people say that actually that speech was more important than his.
Yeah.
Would you ever want your wife to do that, or think that she would ever need to do that?
Well, Michelle and Samantha are friends, but they're different. I think Michelle gave a great speech, and she's a remarkable woman. Samantha is hugely supportive to me, and I don't know how she manages to be such a brilliant mum, to be a businesswoman, to do all the things for charities and in politics she does. But I don't think we'll see her on a platform making a speech for me.
Is she the power behind the glory?
Well, she's certainly a very wise advisor, because she's not obsessed by politics, so she doesn't, you know, get involved in the nitty-gritty in the day-to-day. But sometimes, like every, you know, husband and wife, you get home at night and, you know, the pillow talk. She has a very good sort of 40,000-foot view of what's going on and all the rest
She
of it.
won't be up on stage, because Sarah Brown did it for
I
Gordon Brown.
have no plans. She'd do it brilliantly, I'm sure, but
very quickly,
I value my life and my marriage too much to suggest it.
Prime Minister, very quickly, it's back to school for most children in England and Wales, of course. How was it in your house?
It was pretty chaotic, because we, you know, had been lovely having the, you know, children with us on holiday. And then suddenly going back. They were keen to go back. I was interested, actually, because they've got really good friends. They're at the state school not far from Downing Street, a trip down the road. And they were desperate to go back and see their friends. So, but the homework is coming thick and fast.
Yes. Yeah,
and yes, I was trying to do a poem on furry bear while also contemplating all the other things that were going on. It's been quite complicated, but I hope it hasn't got in the way of the conduct of government.
Thank you.
I hope we get to hear your poem on furry bear one day. There we go.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us.
Pleasure.